seen that yesterday I started to do full anatomical crowns with a silicon key, creating a palatal wall, and then of course I face with the veneer. And of course all this can be done in the patient's mouth directly, but of course everything can also be done on the model, for example. You see, this is typical lab work also, but of course the difference is the technician doesn't start from scratch with scanning or diving the dye into a wax and casting something or milling something and then burning ceramic. No, everything becomes so much easier, yeah? Because of course they already have the occlusion, they already have the veneer, the shell of the tooth. And of course for them shaping is something which they have to do all the time. And of course what we are using to fulfill the full anatomic is then the composite which comes along with the system. So for example, I just show this because initially this was an occlusion, like an overlay. But the lower part, of course, was now adjusted to the model with the composite itself. And you don't see it. So wherever we have forces, wherever we have, the patient biting, masticating, we have the strength we need. And at the same time, where we have marginal integrity, we can do it, we just modulate it with this either on the model or in the patient's mouth directly. I do many things, or mainly in the patient's mouth directly, but I know many colleagues, they like, just to provide the study model and ask the technician to do it for them, yeah? And of course for them is simplification. So before I show you all these things, you can also see that we can do bridges. See, when we do bridges, then we are using fibers. These fibers are probably also available by Udom Smiths. This is a fiber from Europe. Of course, there is also from GC fiber, the stick tech. The difference between the stick tech and this one is that this is a very thin one, a flat one, yeah? Versus the stick tech is like a rope. And I showed you yesterday clinical cases where we have no space. This is always our problem, is always the space. So I prefer these fibers, and I will also show you a bridge when I use this. And you will see these things become very simple, yeah, very practical, and really we can do these things on an everyday basis. So if we do a bridge like this, of course, there are these fibers inside. And so again, we have a flexibility, you see, and I think this is the most important thing to be successful, because again, the teeth are not like an implant in the bone, yeah? They have a flexibility. So that's what we mimic, that's biomimicry or biomechanical, it's just how you want to call it, yeah? Anyways, so that's what we can do. And the biggest is like for 2 pontics. This is what these fibers guarantee, so that you can create 2 pontics, yeah? Of course, I had cases with even 3 pontics, because I have a patient in the chair, he has, let's say, from the K9 backwards until number 7, no more teeth. He didn't like a removable, and I say, okay, we can try it, we can try it, I do it, but if it's breaking or something, don't blame me. I did my best so that you don't have to go for removable. And so far, it always worked, you see. So these fibers are really strong, and I really believe in the flexibility that we are able to do these things in the patient's mouth. So quickly to show you a little bit about the system, so that you have an overview. Because yesterday, of course, you saw all the clinical cases, you always saw the elements already in process, but let me quickly guide you through. So what we have is those veneer shells. So we have them for upper and for lower. And actually you can see how smooth they are, yeah? So this is all laser sintered. We all know in every composite in this world, mainly there is barium glass. It has several reasons, because we all know when we want to attach glass or ceramic with adhesion, it's very difficult, yeah, because they don't like to go into adhesion. But overall, with ceramic, we take HF acid, very aggressive to have mechanical retention. And here with this glass, the beautiful thing is that barium glass is in love with silane. And this is why the composite manufacturers, they use barium glass, because then the resin doesn't separate from the glass filler. Yeah, when you have a composite which is very sticky, very oily, so then the silanization was not good, initially. So we talk about dry out effects, it gets crumbly or sticky on one end, and this is when the relation is not good. So actually the barium glass is a material which is very similar to natural enamel. Yeah? Also strontium glass is very similar. So we focus on the barium. And you saw yesterday the laser process. So when we fabricate those veneers, then of course via laser we burn out the resin and we sinter the glass together. So what you have here is really restoration made from barium glass, so totally inorganic, no more resin. And this is why it doesn't discolor, and this is why you can work it from all sides. The anatomy of those veneers are really like a skin. You will have them now in your workshop kit, and you will see that actually they really follow the anatomical shape of a tooth. They are not flat. We all know normally when we do ceramic veneers, we prep the tooth flat, and then a flat plate comes, and we do it like this. But here it really follows like a skin. And we can, as I will show you, also work from all sides. So the parameters is along all the margins 0.2 of a millimeter. So we have 0.2 to have a buffer, because now we can either make it slimmer if it's a bit too wide, or we can widen it from the inside if we want to overcome the tooth easily. So this is all possible. And then the facial surface is about 0.6, and the incised edge is always 1 to 1.3, depends which size we have. These are the sizing guides which Dr. Jean mentioned. So we have actually from extra small to small, medium, large for the upper, and small and medium for the lower. You will be impressed, because actually we always think everything is so individual. How can it be that something fits to so many things? And what we did, of course, we scanned thousands of keys in our computer system, and then we morphed them together. And from there we got the results for this kind of athletic shape. And I will show you that you can easily adjust it to any situation. You can change a medium veneer to a small veneer if you want. You see, it happened to me. I had a patient, I had only the small, what do I do? I just changed it. And I will show that you can really work on it. You have not to be afraid. Then we have the occlusion guide. This is actually the equator of the tooth. And also from there we can measure small, medium, or large. Very easy. So these are these points. So I will use the materials which you see here. One also important thing, of course, when we look at these occlusions, they are perfect. Perfect. Like everybody, when we get born and our second teeth come through, they're like this, you see. But then, of course, due to bites, due to mastication, the cusps change, the angulation change. And that's also the idea here. Of course, we start from perfection and we can adjust it to the individual situation. So then we just grind it. So it's really like a blank, but not in the shape of a block like we know it from CAD/CAM. No, you already get the tools. So the majority or the main work which a milling machine is doing for you is done already. And so it's really minor adjustments by the burr or relining, which I will also show you. So that's the concept, that we can adjust them, and so therefore we always can individualize it to each single case. Also those occlusions from the inside, they follow the anatomy of the natural occlusion. So when you place it on top, of course it already fits somehow. And then of course we just need to create the space. All the space is already there because the tooth is already damaged in a way. So here we have the full variety, and I also would like to quickly explain to you the shading concept. So what we have in this system is actually one universal enamel shell. So the shade guide, this is what we have, and this shade guide, thank you so much. This shade guide contains all those different dentin shades and this universal enamel shell. This is like the veneer. And the colors which we have here are based on natural tooth colors. You see, the Vita shade guide was invented in 1968 with the lumen vacuum concept. But of course this was a shading concept where technicians were still confronted with metal framework. So of course they need an opaque, they need opaque dentin, they need enamel, they need incisal masses to create the illusion of nature. And then in the 80s and 90s, guys like Didier Dirci from the University of Geneva, but also Lorenzo Vanini from Italy, they started to say, well, but something is wrong here. We have composite systems with 40 different shades, but we are not like the technician. We don't face it in a framework which is silver or metal color. We work directly on the tooth. If we follow nature, then we just have to copy dentin and enamel. That's just it, you see. So they simplify. And of course that was called in the natural layering technique. So the 40 syringe composites become slimmer, slimmer, slimmer. Yeah? And of course when we work on the tools, and due to the fact that we can play with translucencies in dentin and in enamel, we can also blend in. So which means we make use of the tools, absorb color with these composites, and therefore we have a good match with the natural tools. So what did they do in the study? And this is why our colors are based on this. So what we did, so actually in 2000, 2006 it was reproduced. They got samples from all over the world, you know, and then they sliced dentin and enamel from each other. And of course what they did then was analyzing those enamel samples in the LAB spectrometer to find out what are the values, yeah, of enamel. And they found out that actually enamel, doesn't matter if it's a young person or elder person, is quite similar. Yeah? Of course, the young person has a more milky enamel because there is so much thickness. Yeah? So it appears, yeah, and the dentin is still very light. When we get adults, of course, enamel slightly abrades, dentin slightly gets discolored. So they don't look so bright anymore. But actually it's only by the thickness, yeah, which changes, and of course by the color uptake of the dentin. But the enamel keeps very much the same. And with elder patients we think that teeth are very opaque, but it's only because the enamel layer is so thin and the dentin becomes so dominant. Yeah? But based on this, of course, we could simplify and say, okay, then let's do one universal shape in enamel, because the quintessence of the study is that, of course, the dentin is creating the color of the tools. Yeah? The enamel, just by perception, by thickness, is acting a little bit more milky or a bit more translucent. And this is what we adjust when we work with these shells, when we place it in the patient's mouth. Of course, we adjust it. See? So this simplifies the whole thing. So as I said, so when you now want to achieve exactly your A1, then you have the A1 dentin, and you place the veneer on top, you will reach beta A1. Yeah? When you take the A2, you reach A2, A3, A3. Yeah? So the dentin core is always responsible for the final shape. And of course, we also live from the surrounding tooth color, which also blends in, and therefore we have always a very good shape match. Of course, we all know when we do restorations directly, teeth are slightly dehydrated. So at the very beginning, when we have finished our treatment, it appears a bit lighter. Yeah? It takes about, let's say, 24 hours until it really blends in, as the tooth has to have a water uptake, a restorative material which was used as a cement, certain water uptake, and then it perfectly blends in. So in the beginning, it's always a little bit lighter. But so this is really simplifying, because we don't have to struggle with many, many enamels. We just have that one, and whatever we put underneath creates the final color of the tooth. So also this I wanted to quickly share with you. And here you see it very well what we did. So these are natural teeth under different light conditions, fluorescent light, daylight, opalescent light, and now we just mimic. So on the left side here you see a veneer with the composite underneath, yeah, a copy of the natural tooth. Now again the veneer under blue light, the natural tooth, opalescent light. So actually today with composites and the glass and everything we're using, we really mimic nature perfectly. Yeah? It's really beautiful. And of course, when we can match so well, we can of course place one single veneer next to other teeth and it won't be visible. Because we all know when we can do a full front, of course, it's more easy because we can dominate the shape. But the single one is always more complicated than it is invisible. Yeah? I also told you yesterday that with this system, you can always forecast things. This is exactly the shape guide. You see, when you want to do really Hollywood white, you know, or like zirconia white, you know, this, then you have the A0. And otherwise, A1 together with the veneer, it's like A, beta, A1, and so on. So this is a very simple procedure. So actually, this I wanted to share with you. And so let me quickly jump over here. Also give this information to you. also just quickly to this posting core, because you saw that I really do this from the root to the crown. So this is also made the same way. Yeah, it's exactly produced the same way. It doesn't matter if it's an occlusion, if it's a posting core, if it's a veneer, if it's a pediatric crown. At IDS we will do full anatomical hollow crowns. They're especially also done for implant dentistry, because we all know the abutment is like following the implant which sits in the bone. So we can now go with this hollow crown on top of it, angulate it, reline it, cure it, take it off, finish it, and cement it. Yeah, and everything is there already, and then we can re-occlude it. So the idea really here is to simplify. Yeah, because I know there is a huge trend towards milling, towards CAD/CAM, and all sounds fancy, but of course all is very expensive. Yeah, and we are always more and more depending on computers, on softwares, and you see, we give a lot out of our hand, which is not making, as I said, dentistry more affordable for the patient. Yeah, and this is why in my clinic today I see so many patients which actually couldn't afford dentistry before. Yeah, it's, I think, a very important point. So just quickly also to show, as I said, the full set contains the universal, which we can always use when we have all the walls available, and upper and lower centrals, premolars and molars. Yeah. So also this is a very useful thing. So I really can do it from the root up towards the crown with my restoration. So one also important point I want to show you is that when we do veneers or when we do anterior restorations, I mentioned this also yesterday in my presentation, that of course the one thing is to provide a beautiful smile. Yes, of course, a beautiful smile belongs today to the lifestyle of a patient. You know, it's every poster, people are smiling, laughing, bright teeth. Of course, all the time. When you look at your teeth, you see, so there's a big, big wish for patients to have a beautiful smile. And we can create beautiful smiles for really almost everyone, even, let's say, in such situations. But what I'd like to share with you is one important point in regards of function. When we look at her teeth, then we can see that there is a certain stress there. Yeah? We have cracks in the enamel, we have very abraded incisal edges, and of course we can see that there is no steering wheel, which means there is no canine guidance. Yeah? There might be a wrong bite, of course, also slightly, and this is why she was able to, let's say, grind down her teeth. So when I look at such a patient, or such a patient comes to you, and they are not happy with their teeth, they ask you, doctor, can we do something? And of course it would be very destructive just to prep everything in crown, because I believe a crown is the beginning of the end of a tooth. Yeah? In our world we know. Then of course I have to respect certain functional rules. So actually I can see that these canines are very abraded. We can see that we have this step here. We also see that this canine is so abraded. So this patient might come to you and say, doctor, can I have a beautiful smile with your Edelweiss system, or with a veneer, or whatever? And probably she is only ready to say, I want 4 veneers. Yeah, because actually patients are not disturbed if canines look like this. You know, they like flat. Yeah, it's a little bit in their mind. But it's so important that the canines are there, because the canines save the central teeth during lateral movements. Yeah? So actually when we look closer, then we see it even better. Okay, I open slightly. So now I can follow up much more. So now I see, oh, there is a lot of abrasion here and there. I see this step. So actually this is exactly the same situation, because all the time when this patient was biting, you know, when she was biting, all the forces go via the anterior teeth. So she's really shearing all the time her central incisals, and this is why she has the cracks in the enamel, and so on and so on. So now the first important thing for her is to give her canine guidance, to have proper canines again. Then we will have no problem. If you would do whatever, veneers from ceramic, veneers from zirconia, veneer from whatever composite, doesn't matter, and you don't do the canines, they will break everything, because the brain doesn't know that there are teeth now. You see, it's like when I tell my patient, when they ask me, doctor, can I now eat everything, or do I have to wait a little bit before I can start eating after the treatment? I say, no, you can go ahead immediately, but please notice chewing at the beginning when you know, get, so that you get used to it. And I compare it also with the story, and I say, remember driving a car. So when you go in a parking slot, you go very slow. You go out of the car and you look and you find out, oh, there's so much space there. So you go back in the car, you go a bit further. In 2 weeks' time, you are the car. You go in, sharp, and you're proud because you know exactly, you see. And now they come to you. Now this was her car. And what are you establishing is a spoiler. Yeah? You're providing more length and so on. And so actually when they go in a slot, they forget that there is now more, and so they damage. So which means the brain always needs to be a little bit, due to the censoring of the teeth, that they know, okay, there is now a contact, and I have to move the muscle in a different way. And to support this in the best way is if we have the canine guidance, so which we can see now. See, when I have a canine guidance now I have a contact here during lateral and no contact here. Yeah, it's open. And then we'll have never a risk, you see. But if you don't do that, then of course the force will be here. And then when I go back, then we know exactly why it looks so fractured here and like this, you see. So, because of course, the colleague who did this, he didn't do it like this and said, oh, it's so beautiful what I did. He did it like this, and then it started to break, and it's typically, but because he forgot about the canine guidance. That's the most important thing. And so anyways, what I like to share with you is, when you are doing this, and let's say you do your first veneer case, whatever, and it happens to you that something chips or breaks, you will always get a free of charge veneer from us. We give it free of charge to you. The only thing I ask you is to take a before and after picture, so that when you complain, that I can see the before and after picture, then I can analyze and I can communicate with you and let you know, listen, look, this, and then you say, oh yeah, of course, you see. Because like also the professor from Japan yesterday who was the speaker in front of me, it's always our mistake in the end of the day, somehow, It's not the bicycle's fault that he made his accident. It's just that we overlook things, and this is normal, yeah? And so that's why I only ask you, take pictures, and it's anyway good, because the first thing the patient forgets is how he was looking before you started the treatment. Then they become picky. They look so good, but now, they forget. And then when you show them, oh, sorry, it's so important. So all we need to share, and you will always get the replacement, yeah? So that you are not in a lost situation. So this is an important thing to have, as I said, canine guidance. Sometimes I even, build up a little bit the lower canine, just a bit with composite, just to have a little bit more, yeah? So that's the only thing which we should take care of. So canine guidance, then nothing can happen. It's again here also a case which I just wanted to show you, where we can save situations. For example, when we look at her, she has all her quadrants already with ceramic bridges, 2 ceramic crowns, but we see there's a lot of grinding here, yeah? You see, everything abraded, heavy abraded. So of course she likes me to, can we do veneers there? And I say, yes, but you see what I did? Canine, very important. Then no problem. You see, that's the whole secret. Canine is so important. Then you have no problem. Yeah. So that's what we have to take care of. Then there is no problem. And then of course, here we just mimic the color of the ceramic crowns, and so she's happy. So this is what I like to mention at the very beginning, and now I will quickly show you different ways how you can treat the material. So now I need to switch. Okay. Yeah, it's here. Super. Okay, so I will illustrate it first to you, how to do it, and then you can do it. And I will show you one veneer, for example, which I don't touch the surface. I leave the surface as it is. And then I will show you one veneer where I will structure the surface and where I will repolish the surface back to the same gloss as the veneer has out of the system from the very beginning. As Dr. Jean mentioned, you can correct everything. You see, with this system, really, you are never in the situation, first of all, you don't harm, and second, you can always repair. So let's say it comes back a little chipping or like broke, you just roughen it with a diamond, you place a little bit of the veneer bond, and you use your enamel composite, which has the same shade as the veneer, and you just, you know, correct this corner. You polish it, it will be invisible, you see? But of course, we also now have to check why did it happen, and then we find out, missing canine guidance. Yeah? So that's why I stress this point, because 99% is always the reason why something breaks is because we miss out this canine guidance. Okay, so I will now show you the two veneers in the front, and actually at the same time I will also use these fibers. I will also go a little bit okay. So, actually, I will do two veneers here, and then later on I will also show you a bridge here with fibers. I will just, you know, extract these tools just to be able to present it to you, and then you will also see how I use the occlusions, as we already seen in the video yesterday. Okay, so as we said, the first thing is that we are using this sizing guide. See? So this sizing guide has the outline. So now when I bring the sizing guide over these teeth, then you can see that the small size, which is already in your system, is the right size for this case. But sometimes the centrals maybe are medium, the laterals are small. So I take from the small to small, and from the medium set you can always combine them, yeah? Because many times it's not pure small, yeah? It's sometimes mixed up. Okay, so I will probably show you first, and then when you do it, I can go around and show you everything. Yeah?
When you do it, we will have to open.
So, what I wanted to show you here is, of course, now we have said that the S size is the correct size which we are needing. So now when we take out the veneer of the box, then we can already see that the veneer really is beautifully shiny and there's a nice gloss. So, you know, if I would come to you and tell you this is ceramic, you would say, yeah, it's ceramic. You know, because you cannot see it's glass. You see, it's no different. So when I now try initially this veneer, then I can already see that it fits quite well. Yeah, it fits quite well. I only have to adjust it slightly. But now I also like to show you, just to be in the position that you can see that you can change everything in configuration. For example, this would be now, when I do it next to it, this would be the, it's the same veneer. This is the medium next to it, you see? This is just 10% overall bigger. So now, of course, I can, when I now only do the medium, then I can see that the medium overlaps the center. But I'd like to show you that even you have a medium, for example, just that you can see that you don't have to be afraid to grind those. That I take my soft legs disc, for example, and now I just have to open this one. So we go low speed. So I can take this one, yeah, and you can see from the inside that we have that margin of 0.2, which gives me the base. So I just take the veneer, yeah, we have seen it's a little bit too big. So all I do, I take it, and now I can slimmer it. You don't have to be afraid, just do it. So let's say you have your first case. So now you have your study model, you can select everything, you know, because then you're not stressed in front of the patient. So then they're all right, already kind of established for you, like pre-organized. So I just take a bit away here. Yeah, then also a little bit on the other side. Now when I try it again, take a little bit more away, just, you know, we don't have to do too much from the very beginning, but just a bit more. Okay, and also here a bit more. Okay. So now you see, I can change the medium to a small medium. Yeah. So now, okay, it's a bit longer here. Yeah. And for me, it's always like I don't mind if it's longer, because we all have either retractors or whatever when we work, so we never see the lips involved. But at the end, you know, when all the veneers are there, I can remove it, and I can see, okay, lip line, and then I can cut them back. Yeah. Sometimes, because of the asymmetry of the face, that the one lateral, just when we work free, looks longer than the other one. But when the lips are there, they're equally, you see? Because that's just, we have to understand, it's left and right is not the same. And here, the beauty is that everything is symmetrical. So now I have beautifully adjusted this veneer, and actually now you can see that when I look from the inside, that my margins are perfectly. So I have, of course, very sharp ones. And what you also have is in your kit is this diamond. This diamond we produce because we create this shank with it. Because I have seen that in many countries there's only turbines, yeah, not electric motors. With these we can always adjust, you know, the speed perfectly. But turbine is, you know, we have not so much feeling, but we always have a contra angle. And so this one fits into the contra angle, as you can see. And of course, with this we have more feeling. So this is for you in the set. So you have this for you to adjust. So all I do again, slow speed. So now I just go to the center here in the middle. You see, this is the inner part now. I hope you can see this well. Yeah. So while I do this, I create, let's say, very sharp margins. And actually, now I just go along. Yeah, and also quickly through the incised edge. This is, of course, with this we create more space, but also we create micro retention. This is like we would sandblast. Yeah? So that's just for this reason. Okay. So now I will just take the brush. Normally we would just rinse and dry. Fine. So, but now we don't have this. So I will just clean it like this. So now if I control it, put it there, so also from the top, then you can see we have a perfect fit. And now there is not even a composite, which relines, you see? So it's very precise. And one important thing also here is, normally when we do a preparation and we send the work to the lab, the restoration always has a certain stop on the preparation margin, and in between a space for the cement. So now we always talk about the shrinkage stress between the restoration and the tooth, which create the cement. So now the reason why also the starting had no failure is, now when we place our composite underneath, first of all, we don't cement with a flow, but we cement with a high fill. Yeah, with what this is what I use for my daily fillings also. This only shrinks 2%. A cement 7-8%. Yeah, because it has much more resin inside, low filler load. And of course, the veneer, you place it and it's like free. Yeah, so when it's cured, it automatically moves with the shrinkage. So it's allowed to follow the shrinkage towards the tooth. So no stress. And one advantage, you always have perfect contact points. You never need to use wedges or, you know, nothing. Because automatically it's kind of, yeah, and you will be like clack, 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 here, perfect contacts, yeah, because of that effect. But now let me just go ahead. So now my veneer is perfectly prepared. I can now easily apply it, and all I need now is my bond. So this is the bond which comes with the system. It's called the veneer bond. It's for all the different things. If it's the veneer, if it's the occlusion, if it's the posting core, we always use it. Remember, this is 100% polymerized. There is no more radicals inside. Yeah, when you have a composite, then of course you shock cure actually. You shock cure, you go with light, and it's hard. So not all the radicals are polymerized. Here is no more resin inside. So with this bond, we recreate the inhibition layer. So now I will just to show you something also that you can hear the difference when you, for example, when you smell this one, very strong. Yeah? This is a typical dentin enamel bonding. It contains a lot of acetone and ethanol, so solvent. This is what we need on a moist tooth because we want to display the dentin liquid and allow the bond to penetrate in. Yeah? This one is 100% bond, no smell. You know, it's like day and night. So it's 100% hydrophobic resin with silent. Yeah? So it's a different, not only from let's say the concentration of adhesive, but also of course in regards of the viscosity and the color. We all know bondings are very yellowish. Yeah? This one is transparent and it's more like a gel. Yeah? So just to let you know. So this is a need because this creates the silent layer or the inhibition layer which we need to have a perfect bonding bridge towards the tooth. So otherwise you don't have to change the system. So I will just apply a little drop here. So you can see it here. Yeah, I just yes. And you can put it here so you can see it next to it. And so now the veneer is of course a little bit milky because of course I it adjusted. So now when I go with my bonding, immediately the veneer becomes very, very translucent. Yeah, very translucent. So I go along, only a thin layer. Don't place a bonding link because you know when you have a big volume inside, you blow, you have everything on the outer and you don't like it. So really, you have this bottle lasts so long. It's like really, and you can use it as I said if you have a ceramic repair, if you have a metal repair, use this because there you don't need the solvent. You know, 60% of this is anyway evaporating, and it's so expensive. One of these bottles, 90 euros. So it's unbelievable. But of course, half of it is just solvent. So now I just apply it, and then we dry it quickly, and of course, like you. So now this is fine. So now you can see if I place this veneer, for example, now over this box, you can see the digit through it. Yeah, it's really translucent, yeah, not opaque like a zirconium. So now my veneer is finished, ready to be placed. And here on this model, because it's a gypsum model, they broke the contact. This is, of course, you don't do this. This is only here on the model because otherwise we would not be able to put the mylar strip inside. So actually, I use these mylar strips, and of course, we have to now imagine that we etch with phosphoric acid, 30 seconds, and then actually I just rinse it off and I put my mylar strip in a loop shape. You see, I always have like a loop shape. I go around. Okay, so now I have isolated the overall field. I have a perfect window to insert, and I will make use of this mylar strip while I'm placing my veneer. So now, of course, what I use in regards of this is I like the all-on from viscose because it creates a very thin layer. Yeah, I tried many universal bonds, for example, doesn't matter the peak universal or others, but I have learned that many bondings leave quite a thick layer. Yeah, and I don't want the thick layer, I only want the thin layer. So I use the all-bond universal, for example, for the tooth. So now I just go there. And of course apply my bonding. This is just to be sure that it will hold in place. Okay. Then we dry and we line cure. So now, of course, let's say you are already in your front of your study model, you have adjusted them now. You can do the same thing what I do now on the model, also instead of in the patient's mouth. All you have to do then, put Vaseline on top of the model. Then you can do it here, you take them off again. And then of course it's like a customized veneer. So when the patient comes, you only roughen his teeth, you edge, you know, because what you do now here, or let's say you don't have to repeat in the patient's mouth. So that's why it's so easy for the technician also to do this, or also for us. Sometimes I do it myself if I have the time, and I follow the same procedure. So only isolation, and then we can do it. It works with Vaseline. GC has a very good like separator, yeah, and then you can do it, let's say, semi or indirect. Okay. So now we can always keep it very, very simple. For example, we can always use either just one shade. You know, we can always use just here the veneers. So actually, we can just use one shade that we overall just place dentin. I would, for example, you have a patient with A4. He wants to improve, so then probably I take A1 dentin to mask the whole discoloration. Yeah. If you want to do something a bit more aesthetic, then you can place dentin down here, yeah, in the lower third, and you place enamel in here. Yeah. And then, of course, when you press it, of course, more chroma towards the cervical, more translucency to the incisor. Then you can further increase and put the blue effect shade. I will do this with the other veneer, which I will do in a moment. So now I will show you how I do it. Of course, you can now apply a stripe here, and that's a little bit more tricky because then you have a little sausage which you have to pull left and right. The way I do it, and this is really simplified, I always have an alcohol wipe. I clean my fingertip, yeah, and so now I just apply the portion of material I need like this, yeah, on my fingertip, and then I fold it. And while I fold it, of course, I smoothen the material because it becomes a little bit body temperature. And now I have my veneer here, yeah, you see it. I keep this ball on my fingertip. Can you see it? And now I can go here, and now I push it inside. You see, you don't have to be afraid for breaking. And now if I pull it up, it's already perfectly filled. Yeah. So no bubble, no air void, yeah, so easy. So then because I have used the alcohol wipe on my fingertip, I can easily turn it around. So the portion is inside. And now either with the spatula or with this, I can just add the material or bring it into all the different areas. So let's get back to the model. So then the beauty is that I can now just use my spatula and keep the veneer there. Yeah. So I come into the position, put my fingertip on top, take it out, and then I just, have it there already. And now I will just move it in position. So just press it. Press it, press it, press it. You can do with your fingertip, also works nice. And you see, now I have surplus material. So before I just scratch it out, I always pull it in. Yeah, I pull it in. I go along and I press it in first on both sides. Yeah, press it in. So then I go again, push, push, and again I make sure I do this. So now I'm not so scared about the surplus material here. I can clean a bit up, yeah, but not too much. So all I want to know is that I have a good angulation, yeah, so that the veneer is not like this or like that. So if I have this, that's what I'm only looking for. So I hold my fingertip even a little bit on the veneer. Can you see it? Okay, sorry, like this, sorry. So for me important is the angulation, so I just make sure. And then I ask my nurse to come with the light from the top, just for 2 seconds, that's enough. So don't come like this, because then the light goes like this, and then you don't want benefit from the protocol. But if you just come like, you have the fingertip there, you just 2 seconds, then the light only goes through the edge. So now, of course, the first thing is, I go there and I check, yeah, it's cured, yeah, and then I can rely. And now, I can go around, see, and I can take everything away, because now this is still soft, yeah, and of course I can still adapt. So now I have the freedom. The veneer is not moving anymore. I can easily now go around and either adapt or just remove. Now imagine you would do freehand layer. Layer, you cure, layer, you cure, like all the time. And anytime you layer and you cure, there's shrinkage, shrinkage, shrinkage. This is why you see the lines after some time, yeah? Because you have a lot of stress in the restoration. Here, there is no more stress, because actually this is it. So you can really clean up, and of course everything we can remove in a soft manner. It's much easier than to grind. Yeah? So that's all we do. And then the next step is I can ask my, again, I take my mylar, I bend it over like you can see here, now I see, okay, everything is good, cure. Then I go on the other side. Probably now, because I pressed a little bit, it peeled out. Or let's say, oh, I see there's not enough material. Okay, I can come back, just take a bit, yeah, for example. And then I just go into the corner and I push it inside, for example. You know, if it's needed, now I don't need it, but just to show you. And then again, I come and bend over. So, and then I just okay. That's it. And now I can remove it. So my first veneer is already there. Very simple. So now the first thing I do before, see when I started, like we do it in ceramic, I did both at the same time. And I go much faster. But actually, with the mylar strip, I cannot go 2 times through the middle. So actually, when I place the mylar strip, I really go, you know, between the 2 center per pillar. So, and of course, I cannot through the middle with 2 stripes. At the same time, I have now all the space, because if I now take my softlex list, before I add the next veneer, then I just, instead of having it like this, I go like this. And now I just go, and now I quickly adapt. So now I adjust the veneer perfectly with the tools. Yeah? So that's all I do. Okay, that's it. So I have perfect access. There's no veneer which disturbs me on that end. So my first veneer is in place. Yeah, that's it. Everything on the Palatine side doesn't disturb me, because that I finish at the end. You see, for me it's important that I have a good view on the front. Yeah. And already it looks quite nice. And you see, we have a very wide chiplet model. The layer of composite is very, very thin. But still you see the opacity of the dentin gives us a tooth color. Yeah? So the opaque dentin will always give us this setting, and it will block out either completely white or dark. So now I will just switch to the other side, and actually I will do again a veneer, but now I do 2 different colors inside. And I will also do the affection. So actually I already prepared that veneer so that it's already here, so I can already start, you know, with the adjustment. So that's I already did. And now all I do, I will do these little lines inside, with the blue effect. So now what I will change quickly. So the burr I'm using for this is like this flame. Yeah, this one. So now I'm just going. Okay. Also very slow. So I'm using my veneer, I hold it like this, so you can see it. And now I just go and create those little grooves. Why I do it is because that way I can really you know, dictate the blue material where it should go. So I do this underneath the incised edge, very much underneath the incised edge. Okay, because again, now we can get this, make it a little much like. Okay, so anyways, we are now ready to go ahead with the blue effect. So I will just do the bonding procedure again. So the bonding, immediately everything gets transparent. Okay, gentle air drying and light cure. Okay. So now I can use my effect sheets. We have actually 3 effect sheets. We have a white opaque. This I use on metal when I have to cover, you know, that maybe like with Dr. Jean, she has a ceramic bridge. The ceramic chipped off, so the metal was visible. So I coat the metal with a white opaque. It's called white opaque. Yeah, that's very opaque. It really covers. And then I place the occlusions. Maybe she allows you to have a look. She has it now, I think, for 2 years. And of course, you don't see no nothing. Then we have a material which is called blue effect. This is to simulate the hollow effect. Of course, we see it with young patients, or if you really want to do a beautiful smile. And of course, this translucency, it's amazing. So now I use first the blue effect. Blue effect, I place it here on my back. You can see it here. And so now you can either use this instrument, or you just take a needle, which you normally use to numb the patient. You can bend it in the front. You can do the same thing if you don't have this fancy instrument. So now I'm just using the blue, and actually I'm doing the same. Now I go into this groove with my blue. And you see, this is very strong light. You see, it's very forgiving. You have a lot of working time. Of course, I always dim the light in the clinic when I do my, or I have my filter. But even here, I can really work without stress. So then I take a little bit the brush, make sure I shift it really to the incisal edge, and here on the side. And again, I ask Dr. G to cure. Okay, so now my blue is there. To underline this bluish effect, therefore, we have the ice. It's called effect ice, okay? And it's a more translucent white. Again, I'll just take my veneer and take the effect white, and what I do is now I put this spot here, and again I shift it also to this side. You see, and this doesn't have to be precise, just a little bit discreet. Creates amazing effects. When I do live demonstrations, I do many live demonstrations all over the world, so that they invite the patient and so on. And especially if there is technicians available, or when they are also in the room, they get crazy when they see a little bit this. It looks so natural. For them, it takes years and hours to really match so well with the aesthetic result. So now the effect shades are perfect. So as I mentioned to you, I will now use 2 different shades. Also, just for my clinic, I always have 2 dispensers. Blue is always for enamel, gray is always for dental. So my assistant doesn't mix up, you see, because I cannot always look which shade I have. It's just like, but it can happen, Okay, so we keep, let's maybe use some more chroma. I will even take a darker shade. Let me maybe just take an A3, which is really darker. So now I take 2 different ones. So again, my portion becomes smaller, which I use. Again, I roll this little ball, and again I will push it inside. So, but now I will keep the yellow or the more chroma only at the lower part. See? So here at the cervical, and I slightly shift it towards the center. Important is when you fill it that you don't fill it like this and then you have a barrier and then the enamel starts. You fill it and then you go like this. So the enamel floats, you always shift into each other. Transition, very important. So then we just pull back a bit. Oh, sorry. Right? And if you have too much there, just take it away. As I said, you have a lot of work. So now, sorry, I will just use my enamel quickly. Where is my enamel? Here you have enamel. You can see it's written on the. So now again, I take my portion. I roll it. And again, so that you can see. Come here, and I come with my enamel. Just make sure that you have your fingertips clean, because when you touch it like this, you might contaminate. So the alcohol wipe is really effective. So then I just add this. Okay. And then I just put it quickly on the side, a little bit out of the light, to be able to quickly mylar strip around. Okay, mylar strip is there, so I have to follow up quickly with my bonding. Otherwise it don't hold. You see this one already cured. Yeah, this is the regular. This one, my bonding, still soft. Yeah, the silent bonding. So as we said, we really took care that everything is very, let's say, acceptable for the line. Sorry. So now I can come in with my veneer. Okay, so I come with my veneer, place it here on the bottom, and now again I shift it in position. And already now you can see, more chroma. You do the same thing as before. Yeah, before we remove, we add, we shift the things. So again, for me important now the angulation. Just to see that I can adapt a little bit from the back. Yeah, so the position is quite good. You can see here I can. Yeah, so again, angulation is important, and I asked Dr. just to go to the inside. That's it. Boom. So I double check. Yeah, it's good. So now again I have the freedom. I can go around, clean up. You see? And you can really, with these, also important, you should have good instruments. There's thousands of spatulas out there, but many times they are too thick. This one, yeah, is like a knife. It's really sharp. So this one you can really go along, and you can go in between the gingiva and the veneer, and really shape it, and you don't damage it very easily. So I can clean up. So now I will just bend over the mylar strip. Again, we go for curing. Okay, good. Then I check the other side one more time. Okay, that looks also good. And again, I go for curing. So now, if I remove, okay, yeah, you can fully cure. So I just quickly clean it. So now already we can see, that we have now much more chroma here, yeah, and more translucency here in the incisal. Yeah, it will come more and more. So now I wanted also to show you, just a second, take a bit of the glass material away here. Okay. So now I will quickly show you how to finish. And I will probably use on that one, I will do characterization. Okay. So again, now I can start to remove what is too much on the back, maybe more speed. With water, of course, it's much easier because you can easily remove. But you see, I didn't took too much care on how much overhang I have there, because I can now fix it quickly here and also on the other side. And of course, you will now experience even more translucency once I have removed this glass material, because I take a thick layer away. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So we change now to my Soflex disc. Now I can adjust the length if I want, just a bit to finish from the back. So as I said, if you would have isolated, then you can take the veneers off the model, and then you just have to cement them. Then you have customized the veneer already before the patient arrives. So then you can just focus on always correct. Let's say the veneer is out of angulation, so this side is more hanging. Then you just remove it. You know, very easy. Oh, sorry, don't see it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do? Also, I'm using you know, these kind of strips. Yeah, then we go through it like this one. But now in the model, of course, it's more difficult because you have to hold it in the patient's mouth much easier. Yeah, but that's what they do. I strip it so on. So now, if you want to characterize and say, let's come back to this one. Just take a fresh one. Okay. So now they're both quite nice. So let's say I want to make it slimmer here. Yeah. So then I can just take away. Okay. Also maybe slimmer here. Okay, I want to make more contours. So I follow first the anatomy, and then I always go into the root. Of course, this is not a must. A bit slower. But I just want to show you, if you want to mimic neighboring teeth, or you want to really, do a very natural setup, you are totally free. You see, because you don't damage a glaze burn. You don't crack out particles of the matrix. Yeah? So you're totally free to adjust now the veneer as you wish. So let me just finish it quickly. So this I think is enough. So as you can see now, of course, it's rough. Okay, I want, of course, to prove you that you can now easily polish it later. Some of you might think, oh, the guy is crazy, why is he doing this if he has such a smooth surface? But you start simple. And like with everything, like the guy with his bike, you go faster, you buy a better bike, you go more and more, you become really like a ceramist. But you can do all this. So all we have two polishers, the green and the gray. Here it is, you see? And I will take the important when we use these polishers that we don't press. Yeah, polishers should always be used very smooth. So all I do is like I follow a little bit what I have done with my. Okay. So I quickly go over it. So you see, I'm only doing a bit. Then I will just go here. So low, and of course in the patient's mouth, what I do is I rinse, then I polish till dry. I rinse slightly, I polish till dry. So this is all I need to do, only a little bit. Yeah, I don't need more with the gray, with the green one. And now I will just take the gray one, and you will see immediately I will get the gloss back. Yeah. There's so much light here. Can't you? It's overlight. Light down.
Yeah.
It's better. Okay. So now I go. polished because it's just glass. So there is no resin which creates, you know, a dull surface over the glass part. See, immediately I will go around and I give it to you so you can check yourself how beautiful the shine is. Again, this should also illustrate that you are free to touch this material, to, you know, manipulate it, to grind it as I did it now. So there is nothing you can actually damage at the end. See? Okay, I go also in the back, get all the translucency from the incised edge. And also here you can see how beautifully shiny. Okay, one more time. Okay. So now we're going to just quickly clean it. Sorry. Dust away. So now I will give it a round because here with the light you don't get too much. I will hand it through. So we can maybe switch on the light and then I will pass this model through so that you really see what they do. Oh, excellent. So even the alcohol wiping left, so now I can properly clean. Okay, you can switch the light on. You can switch the light on. And then you can just hand it over. What I did. So in that short period of time, we can do really something very beautiful, easy. And as I said, I could have put Vaseline on top of the model, take them off, and now I just cement. You see? So when the patient comes, I only. Of course, if you see already open margins and discoloration, then remove it. But otherwise, you can leave it and just flatten, edge, bond, and go ahead. Of course, you could even do selective bonding, that especially where you have the composite, that you use the veneer bond. Because composite is not like dental. Nothing can go in it, where there is no prisms. Yeah? You could, so you want some outside tools with the regular bond, and where you have the composite, you use this one. But actually you can just use one bond. So anyways, you can leave them there. Initially, when I started using those veneers, I called all my patients which had already like layered composite restorations. And then I said, look, I have something nice for you. I know this color, I know you see subscribes, roughly, I gave all the veneers for them initially to follow up. So I had a good training, yeah. Of course, when we do non-invasive or non-prep at all, of course, and this is even when the restoration comes from the lab, what you get is not 100% the tooth you had. So it will always be a little bit a different feeling. One patient will say, it's a little bit bigger, yeah, or a little bit more bulky or so. But this will be 24 hours, tomorrow he won't feel this anymore. And this is all to the benefit, of course, of saving natural tooth structure. The veneer, when we say it has 0.6, now we shape it inside, before it reaches the tooth, maybe you have 0.4, which is nothing, you know. But in the mouth, it feels big. But then I say 2 times sleeping, yeah. So that's it. Otherwise, actually, of course, like, you know, the veneers, the occlusions, and everything I showed you, you can start putting it yourself, as I said, or you can go to the technician. He has to do it for you, all the fibers and everything, you know. It's just another option. when we do these courses in Austria, of course, we have always live patients. You know, you see everything what I did here at the patient. We will also spend time in the laboratory, yeah, where you can see, because my brother has his lab, and actually they have two technicians, they do all day only Edelweiss, because it's so simple and so convenient for them, and so many colleagues are doing this because, again, it's very affordable. Yeah? Then I was asked in regards of ceramic. When we have an old ceramic crown, which maybe is fractured, or we see the metal margin or something, patient doesn't want to have a new crown, of course we can face it. So I just roughen the crown with a diamond, then I will use my enamel edge. There is from Vita, there is from Ultra, there's many porcelain edge. I use it for 1 minute on the ceramic, then I wipe it off and rinse it, and then of course when you dry, you see always when you do ceramic edge that it's very white. Yeah. So then use phosphoric acid, because you also have like a smear layer from the HF acid, and the phosphoric will eat that away. So now the ceramic really provides pores, little pores, micro retention. And then I use the veneer bond, because there I have 100% bond concentration plus silane. Yeah? Versus if I use a dentin enamel bond, I have a lot of solvents and only maybe 30–40% bonding, which initially boosts the retention. You know. So again, then of course veneer bond, and then I just face it. If there is metal visible, then of course I use the white opaque to mask it. So that can be done. Sometimes even I do it on dentures. You know, when they're removable or denture which has old acrylic things which are not nice anymore. Yeah, maybe the patient doesn't want to spend a new denture. Then I just roughen the denture teeth, place the veneers, and it looks fresh and new. You know, so then also I use the veneer bond. And actually with the, you know, you can do lots of things which we don't think of initially, but it's so convenient many times that we can use these systems. So the idea is really to keep it simple and affordable for the patient. Yeah. So if there is more question, I mean, of course now a lot of things. Yes, please. Microphone. Yes. You see, you have two options, of course. You see, like in the case I showed you yesterday, for example, this endo case. Oh, for example, this is the one which we did with the University of Landi. Okay, see when you have orthodontically treated tooth. Okay, the tooth is already there. So now you want to place a crown there. Okay, you can, probably you have to retreat or something, so you mess up. And of course you have to go underneath the third chin level. So now of course, treatment was done, now we have a full core. So now the core already goes on the top. It leverages with the neighboring teeth. See? It's exactly on the same level. Yeah? So now in such a case, of course, we do this kind of on the overlay preparation. So first we measure. So now we have the distance. So you know, medium low. Okay? So now of course we need to create the space. So we prep. We prep that core. See, the core is prepped like this. So then I can already place it on top. So I let the patient bite on it. It might be a bit too high, it doesn't matter, because I re-occludate other later on. Yeah? But more or less, if you check again, we have a break. Yeah, I have. Actually, when you look, you can see, it's on the same level. So that's always a reference point. Yeah. So now, all we do, we take these wedges. So we have perfect situation. Then we can use our composite. Load it. You can again pre-fit just to be sure you get it inside. you take your composite inside, and then you can press it in the light group. And now you have your surplus material, which is just finished off. So now we had a core. Yeah? Okay, that's one way of doing it. The other way would be, and then well, let me show you quickly the result. That's why they say, let's do it with simplicity. See? So we keep as much tooth structure as possible, because everything we cut away weakens the tooth overall. And so we keep them. That's this way. So now let's say I have, of course, a big cavity, like I showed you in this video. So now, in this one, we have this huge amalgam. Yeah, huge amalgam. This one was already loose. Yeah? So a colleague of mine just took away the temporary material. The patient had no money. Well, actually he has money. He's a truck driver. His salary is about 1,500 euro a month. A crown in Austria is about 1,000 euro. 1 crown. Yeah? Okay, it sounds expensive. But, you know, salary, everything is more expensive. You know, life is more expensive. So you need to ask more. Anyways, so it's almost 1 month's payment. So he cannot afford. So he waits, he hesitates. This is only for my clinic 350 euros, so a third of the cost. So now, again, when I remove this one, you will see. Okay. So now, of course, I had to remove more, you know, because already the amalgam. So I have a lot of space. Yeah. So I have not like before a core where I could grind back and see the thing. So I need to build it up from the bottom. This is another way of doing it. So now I don't edge and I don't bond. Yeah. But you see, I still have the contacts to the neighboring tooth. So now I do it in a 2-step. So now we have selected occlusion like I did before. I roughen it slightly and I bond it with my veneer bond. Okay. And then we like. Okay. And now we roll the ball. I place it. And I leave it like this. I don't flap it. Why? Because I know my occlusion is not big enough, you know, to have attachment already, because there is no core. So now I leave it. And if I now bring it in, the ball is there, so it will like stick there and kind of, you know, stay like this. Bring it there. Okay. And now I'm only making sure I place it in the right way. Yeah, that's all. Or more or less. And now I can ask the patient to bite. He bites. So he presses like a pillow, squeezes the ball together. But now when he opens, the veneer will not come, it will just stay where it is. Yeah? So which means when he opens, I can like cure. And of course this ball is now like an impression. See? Only the margins are slightly open. So I can take it off. And this is like my cavity. It's hard. Yeah? So when I go back, I can put it exactly the same way as before. So now I go with this is like semi-direct, you know. So I use the tooth of the patient as a model. Then I can put my wedges. Because you see, when you have the wedges, the patient cannot bite because the metal is in the way. So then we bond. And now in a second step, we will just use enamel, because the enamel has the same shade as the veneer. Yeah? And I make it flat. So now it will be only squeezed. I only want to load the margins. Yeah. Okay, and I go back to the cavity. Right? Push it in between the wedges. So okay, I meet the first layer, which is hard already. Now I can just clean it up. So it's positioned the same way. And then we can just remove the wedges after curing. See? Now I can just take away the surplus material. Very simple. But we have to be careful because now I also need to do side shift, protrusion and retrusion. Because it might now, have an interference. Instead of guiding with the canine, the cusp is too high, or the angulation is too high. You see? So now perfect integration. But when I do the side shifts, when I close now, you see, I let him also do the side shifts. So I see, okay, I need to remove to make it a little bit more smooth for him in all the direction. So I just make sure I have no interference. And I can hold it. That's it. So this just the other way around, yeah. So once it's in there, of course, it's much easier because then we can grind and mill and polish in a very easy effect.
I think he has a question
Yes,
about
yes.
the bridge.
No, actually this is it. You see, of course I tried many times. You see, what I did initially, what I did all the time was, I show you this technique. I show you, this was with this patient, because also I was concerned, will my composite irritate the gum? See, okay. So initially always what I did, I just go ahead, this was this case from yesterday. I had this expected situation also. So normally, what I do is, you see it here, I use my miter strip. So I have now, here I have placed the fibers, now I did it different. See? Because I tried all the different ways. I think, okay, I did it like this last time, probably it might be better this way. You see? So I try this, and then I try that, and so for me, what works the best? So what I did here, so now this is already glued, so now I take my miter and I put it underneath. So automatically the miter will go in a U shape. Yeah. So now if I apply, there is a miter strip, so no inhibition layer. So nothing which can affect, because it's just uncured resin could properly affect. 100% cured resin doesn't do anything, because the inhibition layer is the unpolymerized material, so the polymers, and this is the thing. So okay, now when I have this there, of course, I can push the composite there. And then slip, I take it out. Yeah? That's just the other way. Then I can start using my veneers and finish my work. And of course, this you can do also here. But you see, and I thought, okay, let's see what happens. So I did it without the miter strip. So because it was already a situation, the patient had for a long time no tools there. And I rolled the ball, I placed it, and I did my stripes, and I put nothing. So it was okay. You see, of course, I try all these things, and then I see, okay, and then I go ahead. Yeah? And of course, sometimes I don't charge, because just want to make sure everything is fine. Okay. So no worries in regards of any irritation which might occur. Yeah. And here you see, this is typically when I get it from the laboratory. So if I ask them to do all these things, they do. So I maybe do a preparation even, I take the impression. Normally he would maybe do a crown or a bridge from zirconia. Now I just take the occlusions, the veneers, the composite, put it together and say, hey guys, do it for me. Reline it for me. Yeah? And for them it's easy to do. The occlusion anatomy is given, so he doesn't have to create it. Yeah? The shell, he cannot produce in this quality by himself. So, of course, we can create things very convenient. Many times also with mild electric. So let's say maybe you have a case, like a rare case like this one. Yeah? And now, because I was also asked about this adjustment of the horizontal and vertical dimension, you know, how to find out where is vertical, where is horizontal. So what we also offer to you is, of course, you can always send your bodies to place, and they will forward it to us. So if instead of to the lab, you send it to them. Then they will send it to us, we will analyze, and we will ship back a splint. Yeah? Really, not a mouse guard, not something which just keeps the patient grinding on the acrylic instead of the teeth. It's a therapeutic splint. And we give this to you, so you have already the first step for the patient. Yeah? Then the patient gets it, either he will be happy right away, or maybe 1 or 2 days later he comes back and says, I'm a bit higher here. And you just remove it. And then you let him go for 4 months like this. And he will be very relaxed. But it's important for him that he really wears it. And then this is your bite. And this is what you can use for the articulator. And one more time, I take it out, I articulate, and then this is the space, like we have seen yesterday. So we offer this service, so you can send it, because you know that's half of the rent is the splint. Okay, for example. Okay, and these splints are either like this, but most of the time, okay, look. For example, this patient, another case, you can already see, look at the asymmetry. See how the upper moves over. See, 19-year-old, everyday migraine. She could not work. She was just at home and she had medication all the time. And then we analyzed her, we adjusted her, we gave her the split. Here you see already the occlusions instead of the split. Also here we shifted the upper, but better to see here. This is before and after. Underneath, it's still like this. Yeah? Because we just open. But this I do mainly with my technician. Because, as I said, but instead of doing this with ceramic, which is critical in such situation with the slip, this is exactly what they say. Now she comes in with the splint. I will tell her, give me the splint, you take the splint out, and then we say, please bite. She will only be able to bite like this, because her brain thinks this is her position, even though there is nothing in between. And so this is what we keep, you see. And actually, yeah, we also leverage this side of the veneers, and this is how I get it. Everything already relined on the model. So you can really incorporate this also to your technician, or you can do it yourself also. You know, once the articulator, let's say you have the bite, then it becomes easy, because then we just fill those spaces. Here you see also just adjust it on the model. And then for us, it's just etching, bonding, and rinsing. I will just finish with a little video. Yeah, you can see it in the post. Okay. So that's a typical situation, also operation, split therapy, and then veneers and occlusions, everything involved. So videos like this one and many others you find on our website. If you go edelweiss.com, you find videos, you can even download, let's say, articles or step-by-steps. And again, you can always send us also a message, we get back to you, so if there is a question or anything. But yeah, so really you can manipulate this material from all sides. You don't have to be afraid that you damage something, which you can just go ahead. Any more questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
You said it's affordable compared to the ceramic
right.
crown or something. So in your country, in your practice, can you compare? The
Yes.
of,
See, when I do a veneer, like a ceramic veneer, for example, if I do it with the lab together, then the patient is faced in my area with about 1,000 to 1,200 euro per tooth. That's, of course, sounds very expensive for here, but again, you know, everything is so much more expensive. A dental assistant in my country, she earns about 3,500 euros a month. So it's just the assistant. So you can imagine something has to pay on this, and that's why the restorations are so expensive. If I now do Edelweiss veneer, I ask my patient 350 euros. Because of course, he comes, I have it already prepared, I do it. Today it takes me maybe 8 veneers, take me 1.5 hours. When I started, it took me maybe 2.5 hours. So, you know, I got better, I got faster, I have it, I know what I do, it's like a movie, you know, like you get confident. And so, of course, it's always a time thing. So I calculate about 10 to 15 minutes per tooth, maximum, adjustment, placement. So actually, this is why I can say 1.5 hours, 2 hours, I do 8 veneers. Yeah? So now, my hour in the office, I need to calculate 250 euro cost. You know, if I'm not there, every hour 250, because, you know, electricity, personal cost, my equipment is normal. So now I need to take the 250 euro out of the hour. So I take the 10 to 15 minutes per tooth, so that's what I add. Then the material cost. I don't know exactly what the veneer and the composite cost here, but in my country it's about 48 euro, one veneer. So then the composite, maybe I end up with 50 euro material cost, 55 euro, yeah, by time. So normally, if I ask my patients 350 euro, I have a margin, a profit of about 70 to 80%. What I earn, you know, deducted the cost for the hour, the cost for the veneer or the occlusion. And so of course, so it's a win-win situation. And of course, sometimes I have patients, they are so poor, and I do it for less. But sometimes I have one who is rich, I can ask a bit more. See? So you're a little bit like a Robin Hood. Yeah? Yeah, see, the thing is, it's in your hands. You know? It's for all of us like this. I think we are all, when we do medicine, we are more social driven than business driven. See, when I do something, I never think about what I charge. For me, more important is what I do and the guy is happy. It comes back to you anyways. You know, if you do good happens to you also. Right. 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 Yeah, and see, this is actually what this is all about, you know, and this is what I mentioned in my presentation. I might go quickly here so that I just repeat what I talked about with the muscles and the cranial functions, you see. Okay, so I repeat this quickly. Okay, of course, here we have a problem. Now, of course, we could just do his teeth, but we need to find out what is the reason, why is he doing this, you see? And as I said, this is a muscle issue, this is a wrong relation between lower and upper, might be with the asymmetry of many reasons why this occurs. So for me, it's not just, you know, bringing the teeth back to the level and, you know, looking how he breaks or how he breaks it back to this. No, I want to go for the reason. Yeah? And therefore, I need to do an analysis of his vertical and horizontal dimension. I need to find out where he is in a relaxed-like position. Where is the relative centric position of his spine? And of course, if I see such patients, I need to do measurements. Yeah? And what I shared with you is really knowledge which is there for many years. If you go to PubMed and so on, you Google Professor Peter Gerber. He is used to be the head dean of the University of Zurich, and he works together with people like now. You know, they are all old guys now. They are 80, 90 years old already, or even dead. But this is out of old books, but it's repeated, and now of course everything is available digitally. So, anyways, what they found out, analyzing and studying all over the world, the humans, of course, the big question at that time was, if you have no more teeth, where is your bite? Where is your horizontal? Where is your vertical? Because what we then do, we go forward, forward, forward. Yeah? So what they did, they analyzed and they found out that we have overall from vestibulum to vestibulum 40 millimeters. Of course, a person from Vietnam who is small, maybe only 30 millimeters. A person from Sweden, 2 meters high, maybe 42. But this is a first guidance. Yeah? Okay. So then we analyze 18 on the lower, about 22 from the upper to the center, yeah? From vestibulum. Of course, a technician, if you are in Europe and you are becoming a technician, then this is the first thing you learn, because you have to do these bite wafers, and they have to be about 18 millimeters from the lower to the about 22 from the upper. So now, if we have teeth, if we still have teeth, so now we can look at John Coy's or the Occlusion Center for the American way of doing things, then we can measure from cervical edge of the tooth to cervical edge of the tooth. So we look for between 17 and 20 millimeters. Yeah, that's what we're looking for, if there is still teeth. So this is my first measurement. So now, of course, I go back one more time. If I have a patient like this, I can see he will never have 40 millimeters. That guy is down to about 30, 32 millimeters. Even he's a huge guy, yeah, because he's afraid of everything. Okay, so that's the first thing. So now, as I said, I'm going to measure from here to here. I measure 32 millimeters with me. So now imagine this is your articulator, and this is the pin from the articulator. So now I'm not leaving the articulator like this, no. I have the models in a habitual situation. I go to the articulator, but the pin, I lower maybe 6, 7 millimeters. I lower. So that it's not parallel articulated, it's like this articulator. Once it's hard, I will open the pin. But I also will work with the inserts. Yeah? Because of course, this is not a flip up. As soon as we open, we go slightly, yeah, we go slightly forward. So I go about 1 to 2 millimeters in production in the articulator. I show you here. Okay, so this is in a minus position articulated. Now I will open the pin in the front. I come back to this one more time. Let's go quickly to the articulator. Okay. So you see now I have opened the pin, but at the same time I play with these inserts. Yeah. So you have 0.5, 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, so you can click them. Yeah. And actually, of course, that shifts the condyle forward. Okay? So it depends what kind of articulator system you have. This can be also like Gearbach, then you have screws. These screws are doing the same thing as these clicks. Yeah? You don't need a full adjustment. Semi-adjustable is fine. Yeah? So very easy. So this is a SIM articulator, but there is many techniques and so on. Okay. So now it's a combination of the pin and of course the condyle. So, and this is what I achieved now. Due to this opening, you know, now I have 40. Now I have 20. Yeah? And I can also measure here I have about 40. Yeah? And again, this is how I do. This is like an initial setup. And when I come back to this patient, of course, also wanted to point out, because it's typically deep bite. The patient also has problems. Many of them, they go physiotherapy. I don't know in your country, but it becomes very popular. Everybody is going to the physiotherapist, massage, or they take medication. But nobody can help them. Only you. Really, it's only in your hands. Nobody. The medication will not help. Physiotherapy will always go a step forward, a step backward. So this is why we are also working with physiotherapists. We are connected to them, they send us patients, and then we do our analysis. Because why we have this deep bite and the patient was pressing in the night, you see, and this is all because of many factors. Very deep bite, the wisdom tooth at the back, yeah. So what happens is, of course, the lower is fixed with the masseter, yeah. And so now, of course, all the day when the patient bites, whatever it does, it's like, you know, to go around that tooth, because it's in the way. And the brain knows that there is a tooth, because the teeth are like sensors. Yeah, they are contacting each other via the neural system. This is the information to the brain. Ah, there's the contact, there's the contact, there's the contact, because we have about 200 kilo power, but it's never that 200 kilo pressed together. Like, we never overbend the muscle. When there is zero, there is zero. Yeah, we stop. And so actually this patient, of course, she's always going around, which means the muscle on that side is more stretched than on the other side. Yeah. So now when the patient goes to bed, this is why I showed you this, the back muscles, all day when we talk, when we sit, they are active. So of course the face is also active. But when you lay down, and this is for the patient now, the signal in the nervous system, I can relax my face also now. But now the problem is that you have a wrong bite, and now the patient grind and press and clinch, you see, because he wants to relax, but he cannot relax, you see. And that's waking things worse, you see. And of course, that even can cause a short leg, you know, because it's all influenced for the whole setup, okay? So now just go ahead. And now the second step is, so now we have done the vertical. I also need to know about the horizontal. And the horizontal problem is always that the teeth are in the way, because they are just grown like this, maybe in the wrong way. So now I need to find out, without the teeth connected, where is really the central point. And this is what we show with this system. I go a bit faster. So as I said, this is these plates, just to go a bit faster because we trained a long time here. Okay, so. Sorry. So, okay. All I do here is train the patient first. So he has this gum plate, like a denture with a pen, and on the bottom he has just a plate with metal. Yeah. As I said, you can buy this digitally, full, 45,000 euro. Then he is connected with a lot of electricity, and then it measures exactly 20 Newton pressure. So, you know, it's very sophisticated. But anyway, this is already done many, many years ago, and it functions 100%. So all we do now, we mark it, put it back in. You have the pin on the upper, you see, there. Now he closes again. And I do the movement again, protrusion, retrusion, lateral movement. And automatically, what will appear is the so-called gothic bow. You see it here. So there is a cross point. And this is his central position. Without involving, this is the horizontal parallel balanced situation. Okay? So I mark it again just to repeat, because I can reproduce all the time. He will always do it again, and he will make the same spot again. Yeah? So that you 100% clear. It's not like this one time. There is the point, it's always the same. So that's why I now place this plastic there. This is then contacted with sticky wax. I just fix it, and now I bring it back into his mouth, and you see now he's exactly in the hole. Yeah? And now I can, there's not the teeth now miscoordinating. Yeah? And I can fix this. And this I take out of the mouth and I put it into the articulator. Yeah? But the initial opening I received due to my measurements. Yeah? And so now I can articulate this. And with this, of course, this is for me the starting point. And then I have exactly this. Yeah? And from this, still, I don't see this now for me is the moment where I do the spring. Because still now I could say, this is my bite, but I'm not God. Yeah? So let me first allow the patient to prove. And this is why I say over a period of about 3 to 4 months, the brain can readjust. So I reprogram the brain to this bite. And I say, these splints we offer to you. You can send us your models, analyze what you will get back is the splint. And the splints are convenient, so patients can even eat with it. If you have really a patient who has a pain, they will anyway have it all the time in their mouth. Yeah? And of course, still, Once we are finished, we take the splint out, we articulate fresh, we give the splint back to the patient, and then you can send it to the lab, for example, or you reline it yourself, like we saw it. Depends really how your workflow is. But of course, also this we can do direct. So what I do, if I do it directly, I cut the splint in half. Yeah? And I take the splint on one side out, and then I edge this side, and I place, and let the patient always bite on this side. And this side is finished, and I take it away and do the other side. And then, of course, a little bit of reoccupation. But this is how we get actually to a situation where I get the patient out of this stress. Yeah, this is exactly as we saw in the articulator. So we just place all those occlusions like a head, and then we polish it to the end. Okay, and then I just cement like this one. Same thing. That was her initial bite. So actually she got also analyzed. This is just upper and lower occlusion as it was. So that was her bite. Yeah. For 60 years she was running around like this. And then this was her splint. So now in her case we did the splint on the upper. Normally we do it on the lower. Yeah, because when you go back to this case, because most of the time we have deep bites. So of course, if I would do the splint here, it will always be blocked here by movement. So that's why we do it always on the upper. And well, then after splint therapy, so my brother relined this in the lab. The front I do myself. I like it. So she comes, I take the splint out, she bites like this, okay? And so now I just place my veneers. Of course, I can ungulate them different. You see upper and lower now. You see, just ungulate them different. You can see here there is the occlusion. This is her crown. Just add it to the ceramic crown. Just let the crown inside. And then of course I have a very different profile. And now you can also see here her face is more fat, like more wide. Here it's more slimmer. Yeah. And of course this was opening 8 millimeters. Yeah, but of course it had to. Yeah, it's so again, this is all major topics of course in our course. So when you come to Austria and you have a case like this, you bring your models along and then you will go home with it split. Right? That's the idea. Okay, so I thank you very much for your attention, and I hope to see you soon again. It was really nice for me.